Hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your life, your business, your mindset from where it is that you are right now to being unstoppable. And I'm outdoors right now. It looks like it's about to rain, to be honest, but I'm here for a coaching session this afternoon, early evening, and got quite a busy next few hours. And had a few minutes right now where I thought I would just talk to you about something that has been front of mind for me lately, and that is your work ethic, your work rate. And why is that so important, and why is it so topical right now? Well, I was having a listen to arguably one of the greatest AFL football players of all time, and that's Gary Ablett Jr. And he's about to play his last game in the AFL Grand Final this coming weekend. And what's interesting about him, you look at where he is right now, and you can look back and say, I think he's about to play game 368, something like that, which is a huge number of games over a long period of time, and he's been on top for so long, and it's just, he's kind of like the Tom Brady, I suppose, of the NFL in the US. And what it was interesting for him, listening to him the other day, when I was hearing him talk about when he first started, he was okay, but he wasn't where he really wanted to be. So he started off as a forward, in other words, near the goals, kicking the goals, because that's what his father was so great at. But that wasn't really where he wanted to be. And one of the coaches, I can't remember who it was, but one of his coaches said to him that if you want to play centre, you got to work harder. So in other words, centre, being around the ball, following where the ball goes all the time. And he said, you've got to work harder. And he said, if you promise me to, put in the work, then let's see where you are at over the pre-season, whatever, and we'll look to play you there. And so by his own admission, said he just wasn't working hard enough. And even though he may have been working hard, by the standard that he wanted to achieve, he wasn't working anywhere near hard enough. So he just made the decision that that's where he wanted to be. He wanted to play centre, and he needed to lift his work rate. He needed to lift his work performance, his work ethic, so that every single thing that he did was just super, super focused. Now, this is a guy that is not only focused on his training, he's so regimented with what he eats, when he eats, all of that kind of stuff. So he knows that what he's putting into his body is the best thing for him. So for his performance as well. Now he says that, look, because he was asked about, whether he'd play out another season, and he says, look, his body just can't do those things that it used to do. It's only natural that as you get older, your legs aren't as fresh, your body can't do what it used to do in that athletic sense. And a good example of that is the guy that won the Brownlow medal last night. I think he's 26 years old, something like that. Gary Ablett's in his 30s, and you just can't do the same things that you used to be able to do. So you've got to do it differently, just like me. Like, I'm 52 now. I can't train the way that I used to because of the injuries that I've suffered over time, just wear and tear. Like, for instance, one of my favourite things that I used to do was really heavy barbell back squats. Now, I can't do them at all anymore with a heavy weight, just because it loads up my lower spine so much due to an injury of lifting my daughter years ago, that it's just not worth it. So I just don't do them. But what I can do is I can do strong, heavy leg press, and that feels really amazing, and I can still get the shape and size and definition and strength in the legs that I really want to, whilst not loading up my back. So I have to just do it differently. It's not that so I can't do that exercise anymore. I have to do a different one, and I can still proceed. And my shoulders are a little bit the same. There's some things that I just can't do. I can't do super heavy deadlifts anymore because of my shoulders and my back. So I've just modified as a result. But what he did is really made sure that he maximised his work ethic and his work rate, so that he could show up, work harder, work longer, work smarter than anyone else. And that's something that, whether it's skill or not, now yes, you could say, well, he's the most skilled player that's ever played the game. I'm sure there's an element of that, but I'm sure there's also an element that is related to how hard he's worked and his work rate. And isn't it true to say that he wouldn't have been born that way? Yeah, he may have some genetics in being able to, run a certain speed or jump a certain speed or whatever, but the rest of it he's taught. Now, either from his dad or from coaches, he's learned himself. And I think that's what we often forget. And we look at other people's successes and say, let's take Jeff Bezos, for instance. Was he born to run Amazon? No. At some point, he just decided that that was the path that he wanted to take. Richard Branson, same thing. He's somebody that is dyslexic, doesn't have a great education background, but he's had a hell of a lot of passion and a lot of clever ingenuity to say, this is what I'm going to create, the Virgin brand. And now he's a billionaire. So, a lot of this just comes down to your work rate. I know for me, I'm not the smartest person. When I was at school, I hated school. But I gradually, the older I got, I learned to do things smarter and learned to get coaching and learned to realize that when I start getting up at 4:20 in the morning and I start working harder, I started to get more done. And as I got more done, I got better results. As I got better results, I formed more connections with people. I formed greater relationships, got more output done. And that's what makes life super exciting and the growth exciting. So I'm going to record this in 2 parts. I will be back a little bit later because I'm about to commence. I'll talk soon. Okay, I'm back. So this whole topic of work rate, I think is just so important, because I hear people talk all the time about how they work hard and they work long hours, or they just believe that they should be rewarded for the effort that they're putting in. But there was a period of time in my life where I thought, yeah, I'm working hard. But then it wasn't until I started to work hard or harder that I realised that I really wasn't working as hard, anywhere near as hard as was possible for me. And I think this is the big problem with people today. We just don't work hard enough. We think that we are, but we're really not. And look, I didn't know what hard work was until I started to run my own business. My belief is that everybody should be forced to run their own business for at least 2 to 5 years, and the only way that they could survive in terms of making income was from their business. And in that way, when everything is on you, it's your skill, it's your product, it's your time, it's your effort that you put in, when you are so reliant on yourself to be able to do that, that's when you start to work, that's when you start to step up. I mean, I walked away from a 6-figure, very good job to follow my passion and dream of running my own fitness business. But in the first 6 months, I lost $26,000. And I went from making 6 figures to, in the first 6 months, I had a negative $26,000 in my bank account. And I knew it would be hard, but I didn't realize it would be that hard. And then from that point on, I started to make a profit. It was just how much I needed to invest in the business, and things don't just go bang, all right, we're up and running, and you build it and they will come. It doesn't work like that. And now, some 12 years later, I look at some of the things that I did back at the very beginning that I found so difficult, that are now I don't even think about because they do just happen, a bunch of things. But I've still got to work very hard every single day. And I'm working harder now than I did when I first started the business, because one success leads to another. And it's kind of like you lay one brick in the house, and then you realise, well, you've got to lay another brick, and then another brick, and another brick, and you finish the house, and then you think, oh, hey, actually, I want to add a building attached to it. I want to add another story or something like that. And you just keep going and going and going, because you're so driven to make this successful, driven to make it bigger and better and brighter and help more people. And that's when you start to know what hard work is. But until you've got that fire in your belly to do it, you're kind of just dragging your butt through life. You're dragging it through work each day. And this is why that mentality between an employee and an entrepreneur or a business owner can be so fundamentally different, because the entrepreneur and driven business owner is so determined to make a success that they never stop. They don't make excuses. They keep working. And if it means they have to work all day and all night for a few days in a row, you'll do it. I get up at 4:20 because I realised that I wasn't getting enough done. And even though my partner at the time said, you work too long, this is too much, you can't keep doing this, what my mindset said was, I cannot stop doing this, because the only way I'm going to get to where I want to get to, the only way I'm going to finish my book, the only way that I'm going to finish these programs and become who I want to be and get to where I want to be, is if I get more hours in my day. And the only way to do that is to get up earlier, because my schedule is so full of all these other things and other commitments with my kids, etc., etc. So I needed to make sure that I found some space in the day when nothing else interfered. And guess what? There's not a lot going on at 4:20, apart from the correspondence that you may be getting from around the world and the different time zones that you're dealing with. But you can shut those off and say, okay, for this next 2 hours or whatever it is, I'm not having any coaching sessions, I'm not doing any client-facing work. This is my time to grow that aspect of me, my business, whatever it is that you want to do. And that's how I started to get more done. And that's how I started to realize that I needed to work smarter and harder to get my book done and to get these other things done. And then after about 2 years, it was just a habit. I got up at 4:20. I got up at 4:20 every single day. So I was driven to do it. And I'd even do that on a Saturday. Actually, Saturday I'd often sleep until 5 a.m. But even Saturday, Sunday, I'd maybe get up at 6 or a little bit later. Right now, because my strength and conditioning coach wants me to sleep longer, I'm not getting up at 4:20. I'm getting up at 5, some days 6. But as from tomorrow, I need to get up earlier because of what he wants me to do in terms of my food and everything. The only way I can achieve that is by pretty much getting up at around 4:30, no later than 5, so that I can put in the work that I need to before I start my day and before I start eating my meals. And all that comes down to, well, what's important to me? Why am I doing it? Well, it's because it's what I truly want. Because I've attached so many different things within my mind and within my heart and within my soul to say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to achieve, and I'm not going to stop. And I've got 32 days to go until my final photo shoot for what I want to achieve with my body transformation to achieve this year. But that's just one example. You know, that's, whether it's a book for you, or it's a movie, whether it's a new product launch, or whatever it is, you know that you need to raise your work rate, your work ethic, so that you can get the job done. And if you think you're working hard enough now, maybe you need to just dig a little deeper and work a little bit harder and a little bit smarter. If you get those two things happening together, because you can just stay at your desk or stay in your office or just stay up and just feel like, because you're there at your desk, that you are getting stuff done. But maybe you're not. Maybe you're just not being productive. You're just up, but you're just exhausted, but you're not achieving what it is that you need to achieve. Or maybe you're wasting time in some areas. What I've found worked best is work harder and work smarter at the same time. How do you do that? Well, you get some coaching around what it is that you're working on, and that will help guide you even faster to get where it is that you want to get to. The great example today, actually, my strength and conditioning coach, I have to send him photos every week. And so it's Monday here in Australia at the time of recording this. So I send them through to him on a Monday. I take them on Sunday. I finish my nutrition journal for the week on Sunday night, and I post everything through on Monday to him. And I said to him, with 32 days to go, I said, I'm assuming I'm just sticking with exactly what I'm eating. The food is the hardest part at this point. And I said, look, I'm feeling good. I'm finding it easy. Just let me know, what it looks like, say 10 days out, that kind of stuff. And what he said was really interesting. He said, yes, just keep doing what you're doing. He said, where most people get into trouble at this point when they're doing a body transformation is they're looking to make change. And he says, don't fix what's not broken. So he said, you told me that, you're finding the food easy. He said it's boring, and I said, actually, boring's good for me. I said, I'm not finding it boring at all. I'm quite enjoying it. I wasn't to start with in the first few days, but now my body's adjusted to it, so I'm enjoying it. He said, there's no need to change it. He said, we'll just keep... He said, you also said that you have noticed... you're noticing changes each day in your body, and he said that's what we want. And he said with my last lot of photos, he said you're looking good. Just got to work on more my posing style and some techniques in doing some of that. But he said your body is looking good. 32 days to go. Just keep doing what you're doing. He's actually added an extra meal in for me this week, which, believe it or not, is more of a challenge than anything to eat another meal. But because my stomach's adjusted, he wants me to get up earlier, eat earlier, but I've got to do my exercise before, my cardio before I eat, which means, again, getting up around 4:30 so that I can get my, basically 55 minutes of activity done before I then eat breakfast and before I have my first client. So on some days that's 5 a.m, some days it's 5:30 a.m. when my first client is. So it means I just got to get up earlier and get it done. And I figure, okay, well, I can do that. But he also wants me to get at least, 8 to 10 hours sleep as well. And that's just not possible for me with that time slot that I have. So, don't just change things for the sake of changing them. If they're working, keep on doing what you're doing. And that's my takeaway from today's coaching tip from my strength and conditioning coach. But you've got to have the right work rate, the right work ethic, so that you stay strong, you stay resilient, you stay focused on what's important and what the result is, and you just keep working at it. You just keep going for it. Keep working smarter, harder, and don't just always assume that you're working as hard as you can. So I think there's always more. And so we've taken where I started with this conversation was with AFL football player, possibly the greatest of all time, Gary Ablett, saying that his coach said to him, you're not working hard enough. And you don't just become the greatest of all time because it's a God-given talent. He's worked for it, and he's worked damn hard, and he's worked consistently, and that's why, even to this day, he plays his last match on the weekend. He works very, very hard, tremendous work ethic. The late Kobe Bryant, so you've probably heard a number of things since his passing this year, that he was probably the hardest working person on the court. Now, if you take away knowing that and you just see all his talent and everything, a bit like Michael Jordan, incredibly hard working. Yeah, have they got talent and skill and everything? Yeah, they have. But the more you practice and the harder you work, guess what? The better those things get. And that's the same for you in what it is that you're doing, your craft as well. The harder you work, the better you get at it, and the more you stand out from the rest. So wherever you are in the world, You have a great day. If you want to find out how you can work more closely with me with any area of your business, life, body, health, wellness, mindset, then all you need to do is go to the mentaltoughnessandbodyshow.com, opt in for a free consultation there, and I would love to connect with you and see how we can do business. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.